Sheridan joins me now to discuss further on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. It's been a wild week, has it not, Phil?
It really has. I don't know what to even say about it all of this. Some of the stuff was not completely out of the blue. I mean, Kerry Williams had a huge salary cap number and was not a great player for it. You can kind of see that might be something there, but the Sean McCoy deal, there was a lot of talk about him and his cap number for next year, but to suddenly just trade him away. Yeah, there was a lot, and I'm looking at it. They're going to have probably 5 new starters on defense next year, and maybe 40 new starters on offense as well. So there's a lot of turnover, and we've only seen the part where you get rid of guys. Now we got to find out if Chip Kelly is as good at getting guys as he's getting rid of them.
Yeah, that's going to be what's next. Who replaces all these guys? But first, let's go back to McCoy. They get Kiko Alonso, and obviously that cap number was just looming. A lot of people kind of hinted at it all season long. Would he restructure? But when they made that trade, Phil, did you feel that they did a good job of getting Alonso back? Did they get enough back for the franchise's all-time leading rusher?
I don't know if you could say they got enough. I mean, it's not a bad return. If Alonso is healthy, he had a torn ACL last year, missed the whole season. But as a rookie, he was a real up-and-comer second-round pick. The Eagles could have drafted him themselves, and if they hadn't drafted Zach Ertz, but they went with Ertz, and Alonso was very promising young player before the injury. ACLs are not the career enders they used to be. I mean, technology's come a long way, and guys tend to come back. I mean, Jeremy Maclin just came back from his second torn ACL, and he had a pretty good year last year. So, if Kiko Alonso is that player, Kelly really liked him a lot. I had to ask him about Alonso in 2013 for a story that our Buffalo NFL Nation reporter was doing on Alonso, and Kelly kind of lit up, started talking about him a little bit. He really likes him as a guy and as a player. So, he's a good, solid addition. And if D'Amico Ryans is not going to be in their plans, then they kind of solve that problem without getting to a free agency or the draft to do it. But for your all-time leading rusher, who's 26 years old, by the way. I mean, I compared it to, it was 30 years ago, 1985, the Eagles traded Wilbur Montgomery, who was the guy that LaShawn McCoy replaced as the all-time leading rusher. The Eagles traded him to the Detroit Lions for a linebacker. It was Gary Kyle. And, but Montgomery was 30 years old at the time and really didn't even play much for Detroit after that. He was kind of finished. I don't think LaShawn McCoy is finished, and that's a big difference. And the Eagles gave away a better player than the player they're getting, but for the long term, Alonso might be a better fit for them with their salary cap and everything else.
Phil Sheridan, ESPN.com, NFL Nation, covers the Eagles. Phil, give us your assessment of this Maclin situation now. I mean, here we are 4 days. He's still kind of stuck in the middle here. Is he looking around and saying, everybody seems to be gone from here. What am I going to do? Or do you think he wants to be back here and at this point? Because it seemed like he's wanted to be back, but has things possibly changed now?
I think they must have changed. I haven't talked to him. He has not been around, but he's my sense of it was that he wanted to come back, and as long as the player wants to be back, there's nothing to force him to leave. I mean, in his situation. But I don't know that. I think one of the things we're seeing here is that Kelly doesn't seem to really want to, spend a ton of money on skill position players. I mean, last year he had a guy that was going to make a lot of money in Deshaun Jackson, and he got rid of him. And this year he had a guy that was going to make a lot of money and count against the cap in LaShawn McCoy, and he got rid of him. So I'm not sure that that's going to be the kind of thing he does in the long term. He's not going to want to get into a situation where he's got a guy who's not a lineman or a quarterback, but plays, as a wide receiver or tight end or a running back, and want to give him a ton of money and get caught up in that kind of salary cap situation. So that may be part of the problem. And then, as you said, to Mac, when he was talking about coming back at the end of the season, since then, he's got to look around and say, well, what's the benefit of this? The guys that, have been veteran guys here and are my teammates and, I've won games with are pretty much all gone now. So, do I want to be the old veteran guy, for the next couple of years? And the second thing is, if I sign a contract with these people, I now know that they don't respect that. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. So if you're Macklin and you talk out of loyalty, you want to stay, well, where's the loyalty from the Eagles that's going to make you, feel that that's going to be reciprocated? I don't see it. I don't see that. Jerry Macklin's a pretty smart guy. He can get paid a lot of money and go somewhere else and, maybe get a feeling that they're, for example, he's from Missouri. Andy Reid, who drafted him, is coaching in Missouri. That's an offense he would fit in, feel comfortable in, a coach that he knows and respects. It's an open question what's going to happen. He changed agents, and that seemed to set everything back. But I think the way Chip Kelly is approaching things has got to be slowing some of this down. They're not going to, put huge cap numbers out for guys who, don't block and don't throw the ball.
Phil, Macklin was on the radio the other day, and basically I was kind of shocked by what he said, and I'm surprised it hasn't got as much attention. He basically was asked about Foles, and he said, Chip's got the green light, and I think he's going to go get his guy. There's no secret that we struggled at that position last year. Now, he did say that Foles can make all the throws and has, proven that he can win in this league, but he basically suggested that Chip's going to go get his guy. I don't know that anyone has been so outlandish to say such a thing, but the rumors are out there. I mean, is the evidence overwhelming that this is going to happen? I mean, everybody seems to laugh at it, but what do you think when you hear Mariota and the Eagles' name in the same sentence?
No, I think it's, it's made so much sense for so long that, it's easy to do the automatic kind of knee-jerk anti-obvious thing reaction. It's easy to say that and go, be one of those people that sees the obvious and says, no, that's not going to happen. I tend to think when things are really obvious and they make sense, then there's a chance that they're going to come to fruition. So I've been thinking all along that they would try and they would like to do it. The one position that you do those kind of things for is quarterback. You don't throw a lot of resources and do that. You don't trade your whole draft to get Ricky Williams as Mike Ditka once did. But for a quarterback, and if it's the right guy, and there's reports that Kelly, when he was interviewing for head coaching jobs, was telling teams that Marcus Mariota is going to win Super Bowls in the NFL. Well, now it's time to find the team for that guy, and Kelly's in the NFL. If he believes that this guy's going to win Super Bowls, and you're trying to win Super Bowls, I don't see how you don't go for it. You're not going to get Tom Brady, and at his age, you probably aren't really planning to do that. You're not going to get Andrew Luck. You're not going to get Russell Wilson. I mean, those guys are out there, and they're taken. Guys who win Super Bowls, the quarterbacks who win Super Bowls are hard to find. If you believe this guy is one of them, then I think you would do almost anything, within reason to get it done.
Phil Sheridan, ESPN.com's NFL Nation. Obviously, the free agent period starts on Tuesday. Phil, do you anticipate being a busy writer on Tuesday?
I really do. Yeah, I think they start tomorrow. Agents and teams can sort of have a couple days to talk and kind of get a feel for each other and what the money might be and what the interest level might be. They call that the legal tampering period to make up for the old days when they did it anyway and when they weren't allowed to do it. But we may have some idea of what's coming or what's developing Saturday, Sunday, and especially Monday. But Tuesday, I think if they're interested in the players we all think they're interested in, if they're interested in guys like Byron Maxwell and Devin McCourty, maybe Jason Worlds, people like that, they're going to have to do those deals pretty much right away. Those happen fast. Those are not deals that happen 3 weeks into free agency. The big money gets thrown around early. The irony is going to be if after clearing all this cap space and opening all these holes on the roster, Kelly doesn't go that way. We have not seen Chip Kelly run free agency in his own way yet. We haven't seen that. I mean, last year I thought that was sort of Chip doing his thing, and they did some good stuff. They got Malcolm Jenkins, was a good signing, and they added some pieces that helped their special teams be really good. But it seemed like they weren't going to be a big free agency kind of team. But all of a sudden, Kelly's running the show and clearing up to nearly $50 million in salary cap space and opening up huge holes on his roster. So there's something coming, and it's going to have to be at least some of that money has to be spent in free agency. You can't draft everybody that they need at this point, so they're going to have to get some holes filled. The secondary seems like a huge area for them to deal deal with in free agency. So I expect some big deals, and probably as early as Tuesday.
All right, we'll all be watching very closely. ESPN.com, Eagles NFL Nation reporter Phil Sheridan at Sheridan Scribe on Twitter. Always a pleasure, Phil. Thanks so much.
Yeah, enjoyed it, Mike. Thank you.